In today's video, we're going to look at different types of chart available in Google Sheets. Charts are very easy to create, and sometimes the most difficult part is formatting your data so that it can be presented in the best way possible. So in this video, we're going to look at the most appropriate charts for the most appropriate data. So the first one I want to look at is a timeline chart. And what I have here is a history of Google share prices going back to 2010 to present day, and I'm just using a Google Finance function to pull this data in. And the timeline chart is a great way of representing this data graphically. So I'm just going to delete this chart and show you how easy it is to create. First of all, click into your data, then go to the Insert Chart icon and let the dialog appear, and already Google will show you the most appropriate charts for your data. So I'm going to click on the timeline chart, and that's essentially it. I'm going to click Insert, and the chart is created, and there we have it. The timeline chart is great. If I hover along the graph itself, you can see that in the top right hand corner the share price is displayed. I can also choose timeline intervals of 1 year, 6 months, down to days and even hours. Now the reason why hours, minutes and seconds are represented is because the dates are in date time order. If I reformatted the dates as pure dates, the zoom will only go as far as days, which is probably more appropriate because we only have a daily share price. The other thing to do is that there's a slider at the bottom of the chart which allows us to pick pre-selected intervals, and I can slide along the horizontal bar at the bottom to look at the progress in share prices to get a more granularity to the view. That's timeline charts. Now I'm going to look at Candlestick Chart, and I'm just going to delete this. So we have some data here, and the data is laid out in a prescriptive manner. So I have a minimum value, I have a maximum value at the end, and in between I've got two different average values. So it looks to have 4 different values to produce the candlestick chart correctly. So again, I'm going to click into the data, click on the Insert Chart, and the first one it has selected is a candlestick chart, and I'm happy with the way it is. I'm just going to customize it, and just give the chart a title and give the horizontal axis or the vertical axis a title, and the horizontal axis title also, and insert. And there's my candlestick chart. The motion chart is also a great chart, and what it does is it allows you to compare two different sets of data over time. So this chart here, I've put it, is inspired by a talk I watched on TED about comparing child mortality rates and the growth in gross national income. So what I've done is I've downloaded data from the World Bank on child mortality rates against a selection of countries across the world and their growth in gross national income, and plotted the two against each other. So I'm going to delete the chart first of all. So the data here, so I've got the country listed here, so Brazil, then the EU average, then Ireland, United States, and so on. Then we have the years from 1960 onwards, then repeated for each country or region, then the gross national income figure per capita, and the child mortality rates per thousand. The colour and size are optional. I've just matched them to equal GNI and child mortality rate. So I've clicked into the data, click Insert Chart, select again the recommended chart, and essentially that is really it. I can have the child mortality rate along the vertical axis and the group gross national income on the horizontal axis, but note that the user could change these at the time of running the chart. So I'm click Insert. So no further configuration required, and I'm just going to move it up. So child mortality rate along here and gross national income. So I can configure it. So I'll let the child mortality rate be represented by colour and gross national income by size, and then just run the chart, and we can see the relationship between the fall in child mortality rate and then the growth in gross national income. Next we want to look at the geographic chart. Here I've got more data from the World Bank, on CO2 emissions in 2010. So simple set of data, and I just want to represent that on a world map. So click Insert, Chart, click on Charts, click on Map, select GeoChart and click on Insert. Well, I can customize it. So the minimum values I'm going to set as green, and the medium values I'm going to set as orange, and the max values I'm going to set as red. Click Insert. And there we have our world chart. So places in light green, they are the places with the lowest CO2 emissions, and then going from more yellowy to a more amber colour, these are higher CO2 emissions to countries with the highest of all over here in Asia. So a nice little chart there. But the chart itself isn't working completely, because when I click on it, I would expect, when I click on a country, I would expect the country's name to come up and the CO2 emissions for that country to become visible. But it's not working. It hasn't been working for quite a while. It does actually work in edit mode. So if I go into advanced edit, if I hover over, you can see the way it should be working: Ireland's emissions, Spain's, United States, and so on. But in view mode, that doesn't work properly. A tree map is a chart that's useful for showing the overall scale of data. So what I have here are Irish exports per sector. So to get the tree map to work correctly, you have to set up the data in a very specific manner. So we have two categorizations. We have overall groups. So here we have a total, and part of the total is services, and then services is broken down by transport, and total also includes other business services, and other business services can be broken down as follows. And again, then another subsection of total is other services. So we have a total figure here, and we have the breakdown for each of those sections here. So just delete this chart, clicked into the data, clicked on Insert Chart, and already it's set up as the recommended chart tree map. Click Insert. So once you have the data configured, there's very little other configuration necessary. And if I want to see a breakdown of a particular sector, I can double click on services, and now I can see services broken down. Over half is computer services, and then insurance, financial services, transport, and so on make up the other sectors. And if I want to go back, I just right click and I'm back to the main section. So it's a very good way of representing the overall size of different sectors. An organization chart, very, very straightforward. Most people will be familiar with it. Here, a typical way of showing it is to show the hierarchy in an organization. And again, we have two columns of data. We've got the hire, the manager reporting into. So the chief information officer reports into the chief executive. So you have them there reporting into the chief executive, company secretary into the chief executive, chief financial officer into the chief executive. And then below the chief information officer and the financial officer, you've got two line managers, 1 and 2, and then you've got the various teams reporting to line manager 1 and line manager 2. Set up your data just as such, and the chart really makes itself. Now, because it has reports to in position, it's including row 3, but if I use row 3 as headers, now the data is organized a little bit better. Click Insert, and there we have it. A table chart is simply a way of providing another chart which cannot be edited the way that data in the spreadsheet can be edited. And so here we have tourist visitors to Ireland over 2013 and 2012, and represented in a chart format. So I can delete the chart, create it as normal, select table. So it's just going to be exactly as is. I can select the data to be from B2. So I've got headers here. If I want, I can flip the data by 90 degrees so that the dates of this side and the countries are listed along here if you prefer, and click Insert. The table is represented along the horizontal. The gauge chart can represent one type of data. So what we have here is average temperatures during the day. So between 3 and 9 o'clock it'll be 11 degrees, 9 o'clock and 3 o'clock will be 15 degrees, 3 o'clock to 9 o'clock will be 21 degrees, and from 9 o'clock onwards it'll be back down to 17 degrees. So just delete this and recreate it. And select the charts, and then I can customize. So I can set a minimum and a maximum temperature, so 0 up to 30. And I can go from 0 to 15, 15 to 20, 21 say, and 21, 30. Be high temperatures. And click insert, and that's as simple as that. And I can rearrange the table. And there we go. And the last one I want to look at is a scatter chart, and with a new feature that's been added in, the trend line. So here we have cities and their respective countries and latitude and longitude data. Now I'm going to exclude this data from the chart. For a scatter chart, we only take in numeric values. So highlight the data, select insert chart, and select scatter, and then go to customize. And legend, I'm just going to remove, have none. And down here you'll see a new feature, trend line. And I'm going to select linear, insert. I can actually edit it here also. So if I just select the line and change that to orange, I can see the trend line has changed. If I hover over the points, it'll actually, in view mode, it'll give the coordinates of each point. And if I right click on this chart, in edit mode, if I right click on this chart, I can update the chart area, the title, the legend. I can even change the type of chart on the fly here if I wish. Thank you for watching.